Welcome to Lento Business English. Ready to level up your business English? Here we learn through stories, slow, clear, and fun. Listen, relax, and enjoy the journey.
One introduction. Imagine Seattle in 1971. Near the famous Pike Place Market, a new shop opened. It was small. Its name was Starbucks. Inside, you could smell wonderful coffee. The shop sold high-quality coffee beans. It also sold teas and spices from different countries. Three friends started this shop: Jerry Baldwin, Zev Siegel, and Gordon Boker. They loved good coffee. Their idea was simple: sell the best coffee beans to people in Seattle. At first, Starbucks was just this one small store. People came to buy beans to make coffee at home. For about 10 years, Starbucks sold coffee beans and equipment. Then things started to change. A young man named Howard Schultz visited the shop. He loved the coffee and the feeling of the store. He started working for Starbucks a year later. Howard had many ideas. One year, Howard traveled to Italy for work. He saw something interesting there. In Italy, coffee shops called bars were everywhere. People met in these coffee bars. They talked, relaxed, and enjoyed espresso coffee. It was more than just drinking coffee. These places were important social spots. Howard thought this was a great idea. He wanted to bring this feeling to America. Howard had a new vision for Starbucks. He wanted it to be more than a shop selling beans. He imagined a place where people could come together, a comfortable place between home and work. He called this idea the third place. People could sit, drink fresh coffee drinks like espresso, and meet friends. The original owners of Starbucks liked selling beans. They were not sure about Howard's idea for coffee bars. Making coffee drinks was different. So Howard left Starbucks for a short time. He started his own coffee bar place. Later, he came back and bought the Starbucks company. Then he started to make his vision happen. He changed Starbucks. The shop started selling coffee drinks. They became comfortable places to stay and relax. With Howard's ideas, Starbucks began to grow very fast. New shops opened in many cities and then in many countries. The small Seattle shop that sold coffee beans became a famous name around the world. Millions of people now visit Starbucks every day. This is the story of that small coffee shop. It is also the story of Howard Schultz, the man whose ideas helped Starbucks become what it is today. We will look at his life and how he changed the world of coffee. 2. A boy from Brooklyn. Howard Schultz came into the world in Brooklyn, New York. The year was 1953 on July 19. His parents were Fred and Elaine Schultz. Howard grew up with his brother and sister. His family was working class, which means they worked hard in jobs but did not earn a lot of money. They often worried about having enough money for everything they needed. Howard's father, Fred, had different jobs to support the family. He drove trucks and sometimes worked in factories. These jobs were often difficult and did not pay well. Because money was tight, the Schultz family lived in special housing apartments called the Canarsie Public Housing Projects in Brooklyn. These homes were for families who did not have much money. Howard remembered his family being poor during these years. Life in the projects was not always easy. A very important and difficult event happened when Howard was a young boy. His father, Fred, was at work one day when he had a bad accident. He slipped on ice and broke his ankle badly. This injury meant he could not work at all. Things got worse because his company fired him. They gave him no money to help with his injury or because he lost his job. There were no medical benefits to pay for the doctor. The family had no support. This was a terrible time for Howard and his family. They struggled even more with money. Howard saw his father feeling sad and worried. He saw how difficult life became for his parents. This experience had a big effect on young Howard. He felt it was very unfair. He started to think deeply about how companies should treat their employees. He believed that workers deserved respect and help from their companies, especially if they got injured. This strong feeling about caring for workers stayed with him and became a key part of his thinking later when he started his own businesses. During his childhood years in Brooklyn, Howard needed things to do after school finished. He often went to the Boys' Club of New York. This place offered activities and a safe space for boys in the neighborhood. Howard could play sports, learn new skills, and make friends there. It was a positive place in his life. His experiences growing up poor in Brooklyn, seeing his father's struggles, and finding community at the Boys' Club all helped shape the man Howard Schultz would become. 3. Going to school and working. Howard Schultz finished high school in 1971. He graduated from Canarsie High School, which was located in Brooklyn where he grew up. After finishing high school, he knew he wanted to continue his education. So he decided to go to university far from New York. He started attending Northern Michigan University in the autumn of 1971. University life was a new experience for Howard. He chose to study communications. This field of study helps people learn how to share ideas and information effectively. Howard thought these skills would be very important for his future work life. He wanted to understand how to connect with people. During his time at university, Howard also had an interest in sports. He joined the American football team. He played the game and hoped he could get an athletic scholarship. A scholarship is special money that helps students pay for their university costs. Howard showed promise in football, but unfortunately he experienced a setback. He got injured while playing. This injury meant he could no longer play on the team. As a result, he did not receive the sports scholarship he had hoped for. Even though he could not play football anymore, Howard focused hard on his studies. He attended his classes and learned everything he could about communication. He successfully completed his university program. Howard graduated in 1975. He received a Bachelor of Arts degree, which showed he had finished his communication studies. After graduation, he was prepared to enter the working world and begin his professional career. His first job after university began the next year, in 1976. Howard returned to New York and started working as a salesman for Xerox. Xerox was a very large and well-known company. They sold office equipment like photocopiers. Working at Xerox gave Howard valuable experience. He learned important sales techniques and how to interact with different kinds of customers. This job helped him build confidence and skills. Howard worked at Xerox for about 3 years. Then, in 1979, he moved to a different company. He became the general manager for the United States part of Hammarplast. Hammarplast was a company from Sweden. They made various products for the home, especially for the kitchen. In his role as general manager, Howard was in charge of Hammarplast's operations in America. A key part of his responsibilities at Hammarplast involved selling coffee machines. The company manufactured coffee makers, and Howard's job included managing the sales of these machines across the United States. This position introduced him to the coffee industry. He dealt with businesses that bought coffee equipment. Working at Hammarplast was a significant step. This experience with coffee machines would soon connect him with a small coffee bean store located far away in Seattle. His work selling these machines was unknowingly preparing him for a future he could not yet imagine. 4. Finding Starbucks. Howard Schultz worked for Hammarplast, a Swedish company that made kitchen products. He was the general manager for the company's operations in the United States. Part of his job involved selling coffee machines. Because of this job, he learned about a small company in Seattle. This company was called Starbucks Coffee Company. Starbucks was a customer of Hammarplast. They bought many plastic coffee filters for making coffee at home. Howard noticed how many filters this small Seattle company ordered. He became curious about them. So, in 1981, Howard decided to visit Seattle. He went to see the Starbucks shop near Pike Place Market. When he walked in, he was immediately impressed. The air was full of the rich smell of roasting coffee beans. The shop sold coffee beans from many different countries. It also sold leaf teas and spices. Howard loved the passion for coffee he saw there. The people working in the shop really cared about good coffee. They talked to customers and helped them choose the best beans. It felt different from any other store he knew. He was completely captivated by the place and its focus on high-quality coffee. Howard felt that Starbucks was special. He thought it had great potential. He wanted to be part of it. He met the owners, Jerry Baldwin and Gordon Boker. Howard told them about his background in sales and marketing. He shared his excitement for their company. He believed Starbucks could grow much bigger. The owners were impressed by his ideas and his energy. After some discussions, they decided to hire him. In 1982, Howard Schultz joined Starbucks. He was 29 years old. His new job title was Director of Retail Operations and Marketing. This meant he was responsible for managing the Starbucks stores and helping more people learn about the company. Taking the job at Starbucks was a big decision for Howard. He had a good job at Hammarplast. Seattle was far away from New York where he lived, but Howard strongly believed in the future of Starbucks. He accepted the offer. He left Hammarplast and moved with his family across the country to Seattle. He was excited to start his new role. He wanted to help the small coffee bean company grow and share its passion for great coffee with more people in America. This was the beginning of his journey with Starbucks. 5. Learning in Italy. In the year 1983, Howard Schultz took an important trip for his job at Starbucks. He flew across the ocean to Milan, a famous city in Italy. He went there to learn more about coffee. This visit changed his thinking about coffee shops forever. While walking around Milan, Howard saw coffee bars everywhere. Italy had thousands of them. He went inside some of these bars. He noticed they were very different from coffee places in America. They were small, busy places. People stood at the counter, drinking strong espresso coffee quickly, but they were also social places. Friends met there after work. neighbors chatted in the morning. People took a short break from their day to connect with others. The air was full of the smell of coffee and the sound of conversation. Howard watched the baristas working. They moved fast, making many different coffee drinks. They often knew their customers by name. They talked and joked with people while they worked. It felt warm and friendly. Howard saw that these coffee bars were a big part of daily life in Italy. They were important community centers. This experience gave Howard a powerful idea. He started to dream about bringing this feeling to America. He thought Starbucks could be much more than just a shop selling coffee beans to take home. What if Starbucks could become a place like those Italian cafes? A place where people did not just buy coffee but stayed to enjoy it. A place to meet friends or relax alone. He imagined comfortable chairs, nice music, and the smell of fresh coffee welcoming everyone. He thought about people's lives. They had their homes. They had their workplaces. He wanted Starbucks to be a third place. This third place would be a special spot between home and work. It would be a comfortable, friendly space where people felt they belonged. It would be a place for community. Howard felt very excited and inspired by his Italian trip. He could clearly see this new future for Starbucks. When he got back to Seattle, he could not wait to share his vision. He talked to the owners of Starbucks, Jerry Baldwin and Gordon Boker. He told them all about the wonderful coffee bars in Milan. He explained his idea to sell espresso drinks and create welcoming cafes. He believed this would make Starbucks very successful. However, the owners listened, but they were not convinced. They preferred their current business. Starbucks was successful at selling high-quality coffee beans and tea leaves. They worried about the big changes Howard suggested. Buying many expensive espresso machines would cost a lot of money. Also, they thought American customers were not used to espresso. Maybe they would not like the strong taste or the Italian-style drinks. They believed it was too risky to change their focus. They decided to continue selling beans and equipment just like before. They said no to Howard's big idea. Howard was disappointed. He truly believed in his vision for a different kind of coffee experience. He felt it was a great opportunity. Since the owners did not want to go in this new direction, Howard knew he could not stay. He respected their decision, but he needed to follow his dream. So he made a very important choice. He decided to leave Starbucks. 6. Making Il Giorno. Howard Schultz had a big idea about coffee shops. He learned about cafes during his trip to Italy. He wanted Starbucks to be like those Italian cafes, a place for people to meet and talk. But the owners of Starbucks did not agree with his plan. They wanted to keep selling coffee beans and equipment. So in 1985, Howard made a difficult decision. He decided to leave Starbucks. He still believed in his idea. He wanted to create his own coffee shop company. His dream was to bring the feeling of Italian coffee bars to America. He knew people would like a place where they could relax, listen to opera music, and enjoy good coffee. He imagined it as a third place away from home and work, but starting a new company needs money. Howard needed a lot of money to open his first shop. He calculated that he needed $400,000. Finding this money was not easy. Howard talked to many people. He asked them to invest in his new company. He explained his idea about creating Italian-style espresso bars where trained baristas would make special drinks. But most people did not understand his vision. Many potential investors said no. They did not think Americans would want to drink espresso or spend time in cafes like people did in Italy. It was a hard time for Howard. He needed people to believe in his dream. Finally, some people did believe in him. The founders of Starbucks, Jerry Baldwin and Gordon Boker, decided to help. Even though they didn't want to change Starbucks, they supported Howard's new plan. Starbucks invested $150,000 in his company. Jerry Baldwin even joined the board of Howard's new company to give advice. Gordon Boker also offered help when Howard needed it. Another person who helped was a local doctor named Ron Margolis. He invested $100,000. With this help, Howard finally had enough money to start. In 1986, Howard opened his first coffee shop in Seattle. He called it Il Giorno. This name means the daily in Italian. The shop looked and felt like the cafes he loved in Milan. It served high-quality espresso drinks like lattes and cappuccinos made with care. People could stand at a counter to drink their coffee quickly, like in Italy, or sit at small tables. The atmosphere was friendly and welcoming, with Italian language often heard. Il Giorno was different from other coffee places in America at that time. People liked it very much. They enjoyed the special coffee drinks and the feeling of community in the shop. Howard's idea worked. His coffee shop became popular very quickly. Il Giorno was a success. This success showed that Howard's vision for a new kind of coffee experience in America was right. It was the first step towards something much bigger for Howard Schultz. 7. Buying Starbucks and making it big. In 1987, an important opportunity came up. The original owners of Starbucks decided they wanted to sell their company. This included their few coffee shops and the name. Howard Schultz saw this as his big chance. He remembered his first visit to Starbucks and his dream inspired by Italian cafes. He needed a lot of money to buy the company. He found people to help him invest. Finally, he bought Starbucks for $3.8 million. This was a huge moment. He now owned the company where he had worked before, the company he had left to start his own dream. Howard already owned his successful coffee shops, Il Giorno. These shops were based on his Italian cafe idea. After buying Starbucks, he joined his Il Giorno shops with the Starbucks shops. It was like putting two families together. He made a decision about the name. He wanted one strong name for the new, bigger company. So he changed the name of all the shops, including his Il Giorno ones, to Starbucks. Now Howard was the leader of the new Starbucks company. He had big plans. He did not want just a few shops, he wanted many. He started opening new Starbucks stores very quickly, first more in Seattle, then in new cities too. The company began to grow fast. His vision for these stores was clear. They should be more than just places to buy coffee. He wanted to create that special third place he learned about in Italy. Your first place is home. Your second place is work or school. Howard wanted Starbucks to be your third place. This meant making the shops comfortable and friendly. People could come to relax alone, meet with friends, or even do some work. To create this feeling, the stores had comfortable seating, pleasant music, and a welcoming smell of coffee. Selling excellent coffee drinks like the espressos he loved in Italy was key, but the experience of visiting the store was just as important. He wanted customers to feel good when they visited. When Howard bought Starbucks, there were only 11 stores, but his plan worked very well. People liked the coffee and they liked the feeling of the stores. The number of Starbucks shops grew quickly. From 11 stores, it became many, many more across the country. Howard Schultz was taking the small Seattle company and making it big. His dream was happening. 8 changes at the top. In the year 2000, Howard Schultz decided to change his job at Starbucks. He stopped being the Chief Executive Officer, or CEO. This is the top person who manages the company every day, but he did not leave the company completely. He stayed as the chairman. This means he was still a very important leader, but he was not managing the daily business. He also worked as the chief global strategist, thinking about the company's future around the world. For several years, Starbucks continued to grow. However, around the year 2008, the company started to have difficulties. The world's economy was facing problems, and this affected Starbucks too. Fewer people were visiting the stores, and the company was not making as much money as before. Some people felt Starbucks was losing its special feeling and wasn't focused enough on great coffee. The company was struggling. Because of these problems, Howard Schultz returned as CEO in 2008. He knew he needed to make some big changes to help Starbucks. One of his first actions was very unusual. He closed all the Starbucks stores in the United States for one afternoon. He did this so that all the employees who make coffee, called baristas, could have special training. They practiced how to make the perfect espresso. This decision showed everyone how serious Schultz was about coffee quality. He wanted customers to always get a perfect cup of coffee. Schultz made other important changes too. He looked carefully at how the company was working. He decided to close some stores that were not doing well and were losing money. This helped the company save money and focus on the stronger stores. He also worked hard to bring back the core values of Starbucks, the important ideas about quality coffee, good service, and the feeling of community in the stores. He wanted to make the stores feel like that special third place again. These changes helped Starbucks a lot. Because of Schultz's leadership and the actions he took, the company began to recover. Customers started coming back more often. The company became successful and started growing strong again. It opened new stores and earned more money. The value of the company increased significantly. After leading Starbucks through this difficult time and making it successful again, Schultz decided to leave his leadership role once more. In 2018, he stepped down as executive chairman. Some people thought he might try to run for president of the United States, but he later decided not to do that. Today, Howard Schultz is still known as an important and influential person in the business world. He has written several books about his experiences and ideas. He also continues to be involved in projects that help communities and people. His journey shows how leadership can change a company's direction.